Welcome to Advanced Dual Health and Life Coach Certification. Today we're going to discuss faith-specific coaching modules, specifically Buddhist spiritual coaching. Let's start with an introduction. Buddhist spiritual coaching offers a profound and unique approach to guiding individuals towards personal growth, clarity, and emotional balance. Rooted in the timeless teachings of the Buddha, this approach seeks to help understand and transcend suffering, achieve mindfulness, and cultivate a sense of purpose. At the heart of this coaching philosophy lies the belief that suffering is universal, yet it is the potential for liberation and enlightenment. The framework for this transformation stems from key Buddhist teachings, including mindfulness, the Four Noble Truths, and the Eight Path. Here are some key points of learning. Mindfulness is the core practice. Mindfulness, known as sati, forms the foundation of Buddhist practice and, by extension, Buddhist spiritual coaching. Mindfulness involves deliberate attention to the present moments, free of judgment. It anchors client in what is real, allowing them to respond to life from clarity rather than reaction. How mindfulness supports coaching? Mindfulness enables clients to break the cycle of habitual patterns, recognize stress triggers, and gradually shift to healthier responses. Coaches use mindfulness exercises to help clients cultivate awareness of mental, emotional, and physical states. For example, a stressed-out professional struggling with decision-making is guided through mindful breathing exercises to slow down racing thoughts. They're encouraged to journal their immediate emotions before meetings to cultivate a calmer state of awareness. Practical application. Common techniques include breath awareness, body scans, and mindful observation. For coaches, this means integrating short mindfulness practices at the start or end of a session. An example: a client experiencing relationship conflict is taught to pause, take 3 breaths, and reflect on their emotional state before responding impulsively. The result? A reduction in escalation and improved communication dynamics. The Four Noble Truths. Central to Buddhist coaching is the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, which provide a framework for addressing and transcending suffering, or known as dukkha. The truth of suffering. The definition: life inevitably involves forms of suffering, whether physical pain, emotional dissatisfaction, or existential struggles. The coaching focus: help clients identify specific areas of life causing emotional anguish or discontent without avoidance. For example, a client experiencing dissatisfaction in their career articulates deeper frustrations, such as unfulfillment or disconnection from values, as the source of their discomfort. The cause of the suffering, known as sumodaya, is the definition of suffering stems from attachments, cravings, and aversion. This includes clinging to desires or resisting reality. The coaching insight: coaches guide clients to recognize the root causes of their discontent, whether unrealistic expectations, fear of failure, or obsession over control. Let's look at this definition. The liberation from suffering is possible by letting go of attachments and cultivating inner peace. The coaching insight: teach clients that transformation begins by addressing internal patterns before attempting external solutions. For example, a client plagued by resentment learns to release grudges, engaging instead with practices like forgiveness meditations. Outcomes may include improved relationships and reduced inner turmoil. The path to liberation. The Eightfold Path offers practical steps to transcend suffering and live with purpose and intention. The application: structured coaching goals align with components of the Eightfold Path explored below. The Eightfold Path in coaching. The Eightfold Path translates Buddhist philosophy into actionable strategies conducive of holistic living and personal growth. Right view. The definition: seeing life through a lens of wisdom, understanding the Four Noble Truths. For example, helping clients reframe challenges not as failures, but as growth opportunities. The coaching practice: facilitate reflection exercises like, what lesson might this situation teach you? Right intention. The definition: setting intentions rooted in kindness, compassion, and mindfulness. For example, a client decides to focus on improving familial relationships with authentic intentions rather than expectations of reciprocation. Right speech. The definition: appropriate communication free of negativity, deceit, or gossip. The coaching example: guide clients in addressing disputes regularly by using I statements. I feel hurt when. Right action. The definition: behaviors and decisions aligned with ethical conduct and positivity. The application: encourage clients to evaluate actions based on their long-term impact rather than immediate gratification. Right livelihood. The definition: pursuing fulfilling work that promotes well-being for oneself and others. For example, a coach helps a dissatisfied employee transition to a career that aligns with personal values. Right effort. The definition: sustained effort towards personal and spiritual growth. The coaching tip: encourage clients to set small, consistent goals rather than pursue drastic shifts that lead to burnout. Right mindfulness. The definition: ongoing awareness of thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. And the exercise: introduce clients to mindful eating practices to foster gratitude and awareness during meals. Right concentration. The definition: developing mental focus that cultivates inner peace and clarity. The coaching example: a client incorporates meditation to improve focus at work. Compassion is transformational tool. Coaches employ Buddhist principles embody encouragement and compassion towards oneself and others. The role in coaching: compassion enables clients to approach challenges with kindness rather than internal judgment. For example, a client struggling with self-doubt practices love-kindness meditations to foster self-acceptance and break cycles of destructive inner dialogue. Applications of compassion: self-compassion journaling, encouraging service-oriented acts, and active listening to help clients feel deeply understood. Detachment and non-clinging. A unique tenet of Buddhism is the concept of detachment, releasing excessive attachment to emotional outcomes or material gains. The practical coaching insight: teach clients to anchor identity and well-being not in external success but in inner qualities like integrity and purpose. For example, a client facing rejection explores reframing failure as a learning experience rather than a definitive loss. Best practices for coaches in Buddhist spiritual coaching. Number 1. Start with mindful grounding. Begin each session by guiding clients into a mindful state. This practice fosters receptivity, clarity, and focus. For example, introduce a 3-minute breathing exercise before each session, where the client notices their breath is in flow in and out, calming their mind and preparing them for meaningful dialogue. Number 2. Integrate the 4 Noble Truths into coaching frameworks. Acknowledge suffering. Help clients uncover areas of dissatisfaction without judgment. For example, a client feels restless despite external success. The coach gently prompts them, "What about this success feels incomplete?" to bring awareness. And identify causes of suffering. Guide clients to recognize attachments, cravings, or resistance haunting their goals. For example, a client hesitant to leave an unfulfilling job explores their fear of financial instability. Teach release. Show clients how letting go can diminish suffering. For example, a client stuck in resentment practices a forgiveness meditation, discovering lightness and enhanced relationships. And utilize the path to liberation, the Eightfold Path. Shape coaching strategies around intentional mindfulness and ethics. For example, a coach helps a client focus on mindful communication, transforming tense relationships at work. Draw on the Eightfold Path as a blueprint for growth. The right view: encourage seeing life with clarity and wisdom. For example, a client frustrated by setbacks re-examines their challenges as opportunities to develop resilience. Right intention: foster motivations rooted in understanding and kindness. For example, a coach helps a client redirect personal goals towards strengthening family bonds. Right speech: guide clients to communicate truthfully and compassionately. For example, a client reframes a confrontational tone to one of understanding during a challenging conversation using I statements. Right action: encourage ethical decision-making aligned with personal values. For example, a client commits to reducing their environmental footprint, reflecting deeply held ecological values. Right livelihood: shift clients' attentions towards fulfilling work supporting well-being. The example: a stressed-out financial analyst transitions to teaching mindfulness workshops, aligning personal purpose with career. Right effort: reinforce steady, intentional strides towards transformation. For example, a perpetually overwhelmed client sets small, attainable plans for self-care. Right mindfulness: help clients maintain awareness through daily practices. For example, a client dealing with emotional eating schedules mindful meal times where they slow down and savor their food. Right connection: introduce meditation or focus-building exercises for mental clarity. A procrastinating client commits to short daily meditations, fostering improved focus and productivity. And harness the power of compassion. Model compassion as a coach. Embody non-judgment and empathy in all interactions, creating a safe coaching environment. For example, A coach uses gentle prompts like, what would self-compassion look like here? And teach loving kindness practices. Encourage clients to extend warm, kind thoughts towards themselves and others. Encourage compassion without burnout. Help clients balance care for others without setting boundaries to protect well-being. A people-pleasing client learns to prioritize self-care while continuing acts of kindness within healthy limits. And support detachment as a tool for resilience. Encourage self-worth beyond outcomes. Help clients anchor worth in their character, not achievements. For example, a client grieving a lost promotion learns to focus on their growth rather than external accolades. Guide clients to redefine success. Support values based on success definitions. For example, a client shifts from chasing material wealth to seeking fulfillment through service. Teach healthy responses to uncertainty. Promote practices like meditation and visualization to reduce fixation on uncontrollable outcomes. For example, a coach guiding a client through divorce introduces visualizations where they focus on inner strength rather than feared outcomes. And encourage reflection through journaling. Reflection solidifies learning and reinforces self-awareness. For example, a client journals on prompts like, what attachments might I loosen to find peace this week, enabling consistent introspection. In summary, Buddhist spiritual coaching is a powerful and deeply intentional approach to promoting personal transformation through mindfulness, connection to purpose, and ethical living. Its core teachings of mindfulness, the Four Noble Truths, and the Eightfold Path provide life and health coaches with valuable tools to help clients address suffering, transcend harmful patterns, and cultivate authentic joy. By fostering compassion, clarity, and detachment, this coaching framework exemplifies a path of body fulfillment and purpose, making not only the lives of clients richer, but also the practice of coaching deeply rewarding. Here are some summary tables to review what you just learned. Table 1, Core Components of Mindfulness in Buddhist Spiritual Coaching. Take a look and review each aspect, and from focus on breathing, non-judgmental awareness, enhancing presence, response over reaction, and emotional regulation. On this slide, you'll see the definition, the purpose in coaching, techniques, and the example. Table 2, here's the breakdown of the Four Noble Truths. Take a moment to review each truth. Start with the truth of suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, and the path to liberation. Table 3, the Eightfold Path in Coaching Integration. Review each aspect, definition, coaching application, outcome, and example. Here you will see the right view, the right intention, the right speech, the right action, and the right livelihood. Table 4, Practices for Fostering Compassion in Coaching. Here you will see the practice, the definition, the role in coaching, the application, and the example. Take a few moments to review the rest of Table 4 for practices on compassionate meditation, active listening, journaling for self-compassion, encouraging acts of service, and align emotion with action. And Table 5, Applications of Detachment and Non-Clinging. Review each aspect, definition, purpose in coaching, technique, and example. You will see 5 aspects listed: understanding attachment, reframing failure, developing inner identity, practicing non-attachment, and defining internal success. Here are some multiple choice questions to review what you've learned. Question 1. What is a coach likely to say to encourage mindfulness in a client experiencing stress? The correct answer is B. Pause, take a breath, and focus on the present moment. Question 2. Which of the following best describes the purpose of applying the Four Noble Truths in coaching? Review options A through D. The correct answer is B. Question 3. Which aspect of the Eightfold Path would help a client who struggles with perfectionism and self-judgment? Right speech, right intention, right view, or right concentration? The correct answer is C, right view. Question 4. How can detachment support a client facing uncertainty in their career? The correct answer is B. And question 5. Which compassion-building practice might a coach use with a client experiencing self-criticism? Review options A through D. The correct answer is B, encouraging the client to repeat loving kindness affirmations.